Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're tackling a really popular and pretty powerful idea in the home server world. The idea that your Proxmox hypervisor can also be your high-performance network-attached storage. Okay, let's get right into it. So let's start with this phrase you might have heard thrown around, the forbidden NAS. It honestly perfectly captures the whole debate around building an all-in-one server. Is it a risky move? Is it totally reckless? Or is it actually a really smart shift in how we think about efficiency in a home lab? Okay, first things first, let's define what we're even talking about. An all-in-one server, or AIO, is really all about efficiency. It's just the practice of cramming different services, like your hypervisor that runs all your virtual machines and your NAS that holds all your files, onto one single powerful computer. I mean, think about the traditional way. You'd have a separate box for storage, another one for your VMs and apps, maybe more. The whole goal of this AIO, or hyper-converged model, is to get rid of all that hardware sprawl. The idea is to move to one streamlined box that saves you space, money, and of course, a ton of electricity. So, why on earth is this super efficient approach considered forbidden by some? Well, it really just comes down to a clash of philosophies. See, the old school IT playbook says this is a terrible idea. Best practice says you always separate your storage from your compute. Why? To avoid a single point of failure. If that one box dies, everything dies with it. The AIO server absolutely breaks this rule, but for Homelab, the trade-offs are, well, they're incredibly compelling. You get these massive gains in cost, space, and power. So here's the crucial point. This isn't about being reckless. It's about a calculated risk. And that brings us to the first of three ways you can actually build one of these things. Think of this one as the powerful, super complex, enterprise-grade approach. So the architecture here is very specific. You run a full-blown TrueNAS virtual machine, and you give it direct, exclusive control over all your storage drives. How? By passing through an entire piece of hardware, a host bus adapter, or HBA. It's basically the controller card for your drives. You're isolating it completely from the Proxmox host. Now, this path gives you immense power. You get that polished, feature-packed TrueNAS interface, which is awesome. But, and it's a big but, it comes with some major trade-offs. The setup is really complex. You have to wrestle with things like IOMMU groups. It can be brittle. And most importantly, it creates what I like to call a backup schism. Basically, your NAS data is totally invisible to Proxmox's own backup tools. Okay, I need you to listen to this one very carefully. A super common mistake people make is passing through individual disks instead of the whole HBA controller. Just don't do it, ever. It breaks the ability for the ZFS file system to monitor drive health using SMART data. That's the built-in failure prediction system in your drives. It can lead to silent data corruption, and that is a nightmare. It is a very dangerous anti-pattern. All right, let's move on to our second path. This one prioritizes simplicity and a user-friendly experience above everything else. Here, the whole philosophy is flipped. The Proxmox host is the boss of everything. It controls the physical drives, it manages the underlying ZFS storage pool, all the heavy lifting. Then you just run an OpenMediaVault, or ONV, virtual machine on a virtual disk. That VM is just a friendly appliance, a pretty face to help you manage your file shares. This is, by far, the easiest path to get started on. The setup is pretty simple, and, this is the big one, it integrates perfectly with Proxmox Backup Server. You get one unified backup strategy. But that simplicity comes at a cost. Your performance is going to be lower because of the virtualization overhead and trying to expand your storage later on, while it's a major and kind of risky headache. Okay, our third and final path. This one is for all of you out there who value raw performance and efficiency, and who aren't afraid to get your hands dirty on the command line. This is the most direct method, period. You use a super lightweight Linux container, or LXC, to run your file sharing services. Then, you bind mount the ZFS datasets from the host directly into that container. There's no virtual disk, no hardware pass-through, it's just the container accessing the host's storage with practically zero virtualization overhead. It's a straight shot. And this slide just illustrates the core trade-off so brilliantly. What do you get? You get unbeatable, near bare metal performance. You get the lowest possible resource use, and you get incredibly easy storage expansion. But there's no GUI for managing your storage. You have to be comfortable doing everything, from creating ZFS datasets to wrestling with tricky user permissions, all from the command line. So now that we've walked through each path, let's do the fun part. Let's bring them all together for a direct head-to-head comparison. Okay, so how do they really stack up against each other? I mean, which one gives you the most raw speed? Which one's going to be the easiest to set up and manage day to day? And maybe most importantly, which one isn't going to give you a massive headache when you inevitably need to add more storage? Let's break it down. Well, when it comes to just pure raw performance, it's not even a contest. The lean speedster, that LXC container method, is the undisputed champion. It's as close as you can possibly get to bare metal speeds, simply because there's almost no storage virtualization layer getting in the way. But look, performance is only one part of the story, right? This matrix here, this tells the whole story. It really shows you the sharp trade-offs. For example, just look at the expand row. The LXC method is a breeze, while the OMV VM is rated very complex. Now check out backup. OMV is the only one that gives you that perfect seamless integration with Proxmox Backup Server. See, it's this constant give and take between power and convenience. So the crucial point really isn't about which path is the best overall. It's about choosing the path whose compromises line up with your skills and what you actually want to achieve. So if you're what we might call a prosumer appliance user, your absolute top priority is a simple set it and forget it backup system that you manage from a friendly GUI, then path 2 is your answer, hands down. You're choosing to trade some performance and easy expansion for ultimate simplicity and that unified backup strategy. But what if you're a Linux power user? You live on the command line. For you, peak performance and effortless expansion are everything. Well, then the lean speedster was pretty much built for you. You're accepting a command line only experience to get the absolute best performance and lowest overhead. And finally, if you're an enterprise Homelabber, meaning you have a non-negotiable need for the full TrueNAS ecosystem and all its features, and you're totally prepared for a complex hardware setup with a dedicated HBA, then the Enterprise Pro is your path. You're taking on the most complex setup because you need that specific feature-rich environment. And that leaves us with a final thought to chew on. After seeing all these trade-offs, does the forbidden NAS still seem so forbidden? Or does it just look like smart engineering? Maybe the whole idea of an AIO server isn't about breaking the rules, but about understanding them well enough to know which ones you can bend to build something that's truly efficient for what you need.